Hello and welcome. So, Adepticon was last night or this morning, depending on what part of the planet you live on. And it seems that GW really screwed you demon players. If you like demons, you got absolutely rimmed yesterday. And that's kind of a problem, I would say. I see demons are an important faction. It's one of the major factions in the Warhammer setting. This is Age of Sigmar, the Old World, Horus Heresy, 40k, all four of them. They're all part of the same universe, technically, if you go back to the old lore. And yeah, Demons got screwed last night, and I think it's such a shame. Now, there was lots of nice looking models. Like, I do like the new kill team. It's interesting to see Nids go up against Admech. And I think that's quite an interesting point of view. I think that's kind of cool. Of course, you had Cafe. I'm going to bring them up again later. The new space rules, which are basically just your intercessors, assault intercessors with extra bits. Um, Something happened. I don't look at Age of Sigmar. I'll be honest with you. Grey Knights get a new Dread Knight. Chaos got a new leader and new robots for different factions. Like you got a new character for World Eaters and Death Guard, and you got the new robots for Thousand Suns. But that kind of sort of also plays into my point I want to make. Believe it or not, it's actually fits the same with Cafe and how demons got so screwed. And so here's the thing. Demons, as I said, are one of the most important factions in 40k, Age of Sigmar, all of that, okay? Really important because they're the one faction that covers every game. They are the one army that would fit every setting, no matter what. Okay, and that's kind of cool. I like that because it makes Chaos this more prominent threat to the universe because they're big enough to just go hog wild on anyone anytime they kind of wished. And so we get told that, demons aren't going to have a codex this year, of this edition, which to me is a bit of a crying shame because they are the most diverse army there. Yeah, it's a lot of, I mean, if you go for a single god, you're either going to get very magic for percent, which is, of course, your more ranged ones, and everything else is very close combat. Okay? And, but if you do all four gods, you've got a nice varied army there, and it's kind of cool. Four different troop choices at least. And as for heavy supports, you could literally get four of each four troops, four elites, four fast attack, four heavy support, four leaders, you know, all of that, and not repeat a unit twice. So that's a massive army you could get and never have the same unit twice and have a nice, cool, varied army. And I think that's absolutely fantastic. That's one of the most appealing things about Demons to me. So when Games Workshop said that, Demons aren't getting a codex, it kind of sort of astounded me that such an important faction wasn't going to get the love and attention that it needed 10th edition. But it also means, because, well, let's actually say a good point here, because it is good, that means the index cards, and so army building for a demon army is actually going to be one of the cheapest if the index cards remain free online. Which is great, fantastic, love it, right? So you get free rules. And something I've always said Games Workshop should do, and they're doing it for the demons, great, love it. And I know that sounds sarcastic, but it's not, it's actually very sincere. Anyway, getting back to the point. But if you want renewed rules and stuff like that, if you want an undivided army, you're going to have to get at least 4 codices just for that. That's £160 before you even buy a model. And that's kind of disgusting, in my opinion. Okay, it's great you can now use demons in the, dedicated gods codices for, Death Guard. You can use Nurgle demons. Great, love it. Especially if you're doing Death Guard, because, you can have a nice varied army. You got another troop choice there, not just Plague Marines and Cultists and Poxwalkers. So you can have a nice, again, nice decent army and nice lots of variation. But if you're just a demon player, you probably might not want to do that. You might just want to, get a demon book. And I can see the point because demon books tend to be some of the best written ones because GW can just let their imagination go wild on this. Now, my opinion on this, and this has been my opinion for a long time, is that Games Workshop don't like you using the same models for different games. I've said this before, and I'll just keep saying it. And I think it's one of the biggest flaws that they have. You can't really use Firstborn in 40k. You've got to use them in Horus Heresy, and of course you can use Custodians in both, of course. But there's so many units in from both the Codex and the Liber Imperium which aren't transferred, like the Sagittarium for Horus Heresy, or their Contemptor Dreadnoughts. And again, we see this with the new robots for the Thousand Suns. You can't pass over the ones from Horus Heresy and use them. You have to use these 40k ones, even though, they're basically the same. And actually, the Horus Heresy ones look better. And this is why I think they kind of always they're starting to give Demons the short end of the stick. Because if you want to play Demons in anything at the moment, you're going to have to download the rules. Like I said, I have no problem with that, okay? I don't. But it does feel like when GW does this to an army, it's slowly getting rid of them. That's kind of been their tactic for a while. They will say, yeah, we're going to give you these rules to download, but yeah, just keep them out of tournaments. We've seen this with Legends, for example. Last edition, you could use Horus Heresy models. You could basically buy the Horus Heresy box and use it in 40k and have a great big starting Space Marine army. But they sort of go, yeah, we're just going to push this to the side here, and that's kind of the way it goes. Now, when it comes to Cafe and Demons, now this is where it kind of stuck in my craw a bit more, is we were told that Dark Elves, Skaven, Lizardmen, and Demons, and there's probably Chaos Drawers as well, weren't legal armies in the new Kings of War. Yeah, sorry, Kings of War is one's in my head. Sorry, the old world, because they weren't really part of the narrative. Okay, that's a fair thing to say. Okay, I have no issue. That's a fair thing to say, and that's fine. If they're not really part of the narrative, but they want to tell, like Horus Heresy, they wanted to tell this story. Hence, we didn't get any Xenos. Even though the Orcs played a major part during the Horus Heresy. They kind of they are the reason Horus became the War Master when he saved the Emperor's life. And we've seen, the Aldar appear a couple of times. Yet, that's fine, okay? They want to tell a story with their models. That's cool. I like that. I like a narratively driven game. Yet, that's the thing. Cafe were more inactive then, during the time of the Three Emperors, than Demons. Demons were literally kicking the hell out of Bretonnians during this time period. And if Bretonnians weren't getting the crap kicked out of them by the Demons, they were getting the crap kicked out of them by the Dark Elves, who just kept raiding their ports and stealing them. So they were far more active than Cafe. Now, I have no complaints with Cafe models. I think they're great. But the excuse that you can't use Dark Elves or Demons in a tournament or, anything like that is kind of sort of awkward now that Cafe were even more inactive. Yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Have a great day, and I'll see you all again soon. If you wish to save money on your wargaming, don't forget to click on Wayland Games down below for up to 20% off and free delivery after £20. There is also Forbidden Planet for comics, DVDs, mangas, my merchandise as well. Click on that link as well. There is Skyforge, good friend of mine. Just give him a click. Let's get him that Google algorithm. And finally, Patreon because business. Bye bye.